What's up, pagan people? Drew here. Today we are chilling in the living room on the love seat. Dogs might be making noises. I think my air just kicked in or something. I don't know. But the sound quality may be off, and I apologize if that's the case. I just quickly kind of wanted to touch on a topic that has been kind of circulating, and I have feels about it. I'm not really going to get into that though. I feel like there's something important that needs to be said that I have not heard said. So there's this topic of plastic witches or whatever. So basically this idea of sort of vapid, shallow content being created in the community, as well as this emphasis on consumerism is the gist that I'm getting. I have seen several posts and videos on this topic, and honestly, most of them kind of turn my stomach. There is one. Headology the Witch did a video that I thought was very thoughtful and lovely, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I'll link it below. The thing that she did so beautifully was take into account that witches and pagans are human beings. We're human beings. The reason that I find this topic upsetting, because I feel like when I read these or watch these, that the person is pointing their finger out at whomever and saying, you're a bad pagan, you're a bad witch. I don't like it. It really gets on my nerves. I will be the first to admit that there is a lot of content out there that I am not crazy about and that I do not consume. And it is because it does, like, I don't watch unboxings. I'm not into it. And if you're doing an unboxing because you want a giveaway or it's witchy love mail, I'll watch that. But if it's like a subscription box, I'm not into it. I'm not watching. And that's just my own personal, I'm not into it. I don't want to watch that. I would much rather hear you talk about your ideas about, witchcraft or your experiences or something like that. That's the kind of content that I want to consume. I personally create the content that I want to consume. So that it's kind of a mixed bag and there's a little bit of everything, but that's what I'm into. It's my own personal choice. For me, I feel like that's the extent of it. I don't feel like there's a need to make videos talking about how there shouldn't be X kind of content and it should all be Y content, because different people like different things and there should be content for everyone. And I honestly feel like the creator should just make the content that they want to see without going around criticizing other people for the content that they're creating. That's my own personal opinion. That's not my point I want to make though. The point that I really want to make is that human beings have baggage. So, okay, the phrase that goes along with this is, you don't need any of those things to be a witch. I absolutely agree with that. 100%. I have said that on my channel many times. Having said that, there is not one truth. That is a general truth. That doesn't mean that is the truth for every single person. And when I'm going to use a personal example from my life, my practice. Initially, I had trouble with working with energy. I could I could feel energy and work with it, manipulate it in spellcraft, but like feeding energy into an animal or a plant or a person, like doing that kind of work with energy was something I had a lot of difficulty with. And to me, that touched every other part. Even though I could direct energy for circle and I could, do energy work with my magic or whatever, I knew that it could be better. Because if I could just work with energy in general, just work with energy any way I wanted, any time I wanted, that I would be more fully in alignment and in touch with that. And that could only be of benefit to me in my working and in my life in general. So after many years of practicing, I decided to take Reiki. I took Reiki 1, and doing so absolutely broke through that. So I had some kind of block. I believe firmly that it was a psychological block. But I had a block when it came to working with energy, and taking that class for whatever reason just totally broke that down, destroyed it, and I moved right through that block. So yes, I paid a lot of money to be able to do something that is just a natural thing that anybody can do. but I personally needed that extra step. So the example I'll use is there's a new baby witch coming into their path and they're having trouble directing energy. And they try for months to no avail, just can't seem to do it. And they pick up a crystal wand and suddenly they can direct energy. They pick up a stick off the ground and suddenly they can direct energy. Yes, this is a block on some level. We all have them. So, a psychological, emotional, spiritual, maybe even physical for some people, certain things. Block that as a human being, I'm carrying around with me. That person's carrying that block, but as soon as they pick up that wand, it just empowers them because they're not in their head anymore about whether I am capable of doing this thing. It just flows. So to say that you don't need tools, in general, this is a truth. But on an individual level, it may not be that easy. Every individual has their own baggage, their own mess to work out and move through. And hopefully, if an individual did feel that they absolutely needed that wand in order to cast, they would be able to move through that hopefully one day, and to get past that. But until they could, having that tool is nothing but of benefit to them. Granted, yes, they have shadow work or whatever. They have stuff they need to do, but we all do. I have done ritual, very simple ritual. Just the very first ritual I did was it was just intuitive and it was so just thrown together, and it was one of the most powerful ones I've ever done. But I've also done ritual, very elaborate dressing, just the aesthetics and the atmosphere and the surroundings totally set up just for this specific ritual, and also had to be very powerful and moving. We are each individuals, we have our own needs. Some people need to have that witchy aesthetic to get into that space, that mindset. Like some people will need to burn an incense every time they do a spell, maybe even a particular incense. I don't need to do a particular, to burn a particular incense or even burn an incense at all to do spellcraft. But every time I light a dragon's blood incense, automatically I'm like, ooh, let's do some magic. I'm in that mindset. I'm right there, whether I do magic or not. I call them triggers. So, it's not fair to tell someone they don't need something, or, it's not necessary, or even worse, that it's wrong for them to have things that they feel enhance their practice and their path. I don't know. It really gets on my nerves. I find it upsetting. Like, I don't care. I genuinely don't care if other people, it doesn't feel good to get like harsh judgment from other people, but they don't walk in my shoes. I am me. I'm an individual. I'm on my path and I'm not worried about you. But I just don't think it's helpful. I don't think there's anything positive about getting up on your soapbox and telling other people that how they choose to express their path, their practice, their connection, whatever you want to say, because every witchy knick-knack, whatever that I have, we're leading into Maban. So I have all my Maban decor out. So I've got little wooden pumpkins, and a wooden crow, and an ear of corn, and a glass bottle filled with these they look like pumpkins. I don't know, it's a crafty thing. A metal oak leaf. Like, I have all of these little tchotchkes that help me set the mood for Maban. Someone else could think that that's disgusting and unnecessary. And it's not necessary. I don't need it. But it's just like Yule. When I love to decorate for the Sabbats, especially the ones that I am connected to, because the whole house takes on this energy, the more of this aesthetic that I place around. The gratitude festival is coming. My gratitude feast is on its way, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy, and I'm creating that energy throughout my whole home. Or for Samhain, ooh, time to honor the ancestors, and, the thinning of the veil, and this just really electric, palpable connection with those who came before me. And I'm reflecting that in the environment around me. And this is what works for me. This is what feeds my spirit. This is what makes me happy, brings me joy. And I don't really care who else likes it. I think there's room for everyone. And if I think that someone is doing something that they shouldn't be doing for some reason, that it's not healthy in some way, whether that's for them or the people around them or the earth, then I feel like it's my responsibility to try to create content in a way that they can digest, that is positive, and that is an example for them to follow, rather than standing up on my soapbox and pointing my finger at them and telling them they're bad pagans or bad witches. I just don't see how that's helpful at all. And it's very self-righteous, and I won't take part in it. I couldn't if I wanted to, because I am a consumer witch. I will admit it all day. I'm a collector witch. That's what I call myself. I like to collect. I have certain things I collect, and I collect them. I love them. But I take it upon myself to do what I think is best and what I can to be a good custodian of the earth, to be a good pagan. So, I look at other areas of my life and do everything I can to be that good pagan. So again, it would be easy for an individual to say, these other people are vapid and shallow. All they do is unboxings, and they're consumers, and they're not good pagans. They're not good witches. When you don't walk in their shoes every day and you have no idea about what is going on with them or in their lives or their practices or who they are, aside from what you see in that snippet. And again, I'm going to refer back to Headology the Witch, Hetty's video. She very succinctly, beautifully states that each of us come to this platform, or any platform, and decide what we're going to share with you. There's a whole lot more going on, whether we decide to share that or not. That's our individual choice. And to attack someone when you're only getting the smallest glimpse of what it is they are and what it is they do, I think it's toxic. I'm just going to use that word because it is. It's toxic. It's horrible. And I'm doing it. I'm doing the same thing because I'm saying that other people being toxic is toxic. Well, that, it's why I hesitate to make the video in the first place, because I know that I have to do the exact thing I'm talking about. I have to call out other people, even if I'm not specifically calling them out, and say what you're doing is wrong when that's what they're doing. And I don't like that because it's hypocritical. But I just feel compelled to put my 2 cents in. If you get nothing else from what I said, please, the part about the individual and what an individual needs as a human being and the blocks that we have and whatnot. And, who's to say what someone else needs in their path or practice? That's I guess, the gist of what I'm trying to say. Oh, I'm going to stop talking now. I genuinely adore you all. I really, really, really enjoy this platform. I really enjoy Instagram. I love seeing what you create and put out there, and I love creating my own and putting it out and interacting. I just wish there was a little more compassion. Or no, I just wish that there was a wider thought process, like a higher perspective. Things weren't so focused, hyper-focused on these little bitty things. We just keep trying. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, much love and gratitude.